everybody, welcome back to Old Volks TV. Today is the third installment of the Porsche brake saga. If you missed part 1, put the link right there for you. And if you missed part 2, put the link right there for you, so you can get caught up. Part 1 we tore it down, part 2 we painted it, and now part 3 we're going to reassemble the calipers, and I'll show you basically the whole kit, how it comes together, and then next time we'll put it on the bus. I'm still waiting on one more little piece before we can get it on there, but we'll go ahead and switch this all around and I will show you what we got. Alright, so as you can see, the new stuff looks a lot better than the old stuff. This is the untouched side that I have. This is the comparison. This is what we started with. You know, calipers, nasty, rusty, stuck together. The piston's hanging out but stuck. You know, all around just gross. The hub is stuck to the rotor. I mean, they're not even bolted together. It's just stuck. It's rusty, it's full of old grease, and it's all chewed up and gross. Compared to the new stuff, you know, this is that caliper that we painted and cleaned up. I got the new pads in there, carbon ceramic pads, fancy, with the new hardware and the clips and everything. Got a brand new rotor. The hub is all clean, which I'll show you later. We'll take this all apart. I'll show you how I put it together. We've got our wheel adapters that go from Porsche to Wide 5. There's new bearings. There's the rebuild kit for the piston inside there. Got the adapter that'll adapt the calipers to the bus spindles. Some spacers. We got red Loctite, which you definitely need. We've got the dual master cylinder from a late day. It's a little bigger, as you can see. It's got a little bit bigger piston in there. It's dual circuits, so you have one dedicated to the front, one dedicated to the back. This is off a disc brake bus, so that's what it's meant for. Got the adapter that came from VW Engineering, same place I got the adapter for the caliper. I got the adapter for the master cylinder. This lets you use a late cylinder on a split bus. Pretty nice, solid aluminum. I do need to get 15-inch wheels before I can bolt this on. I've got 14s on there now, and I don't think that it's gonna clear. You know, we'll get a little bit higher out of it, but that's okay. More ground clearance, right? And then that big motor will go in there, turn those nice big wheels. It'll be cherry. So let me clear this off and we'll get this stuff torn down, kind of show you how it goes together, what you need, and we'll show you how to rebuild the actual caliper part of this. So let's clear the table and we'll start fresh. Alright, so now we got it all blowed apart, and so it looks like a lot of parts. It's really not that bad. We'll start with the caliper. Our nice fancy painted caliper. Very important, if you remember from part 2 where we painted, we didn't paint certain areas of the frame and the you know, the pot and the sliders and everything all in here. You're gonna see why now. What I did do when I peeled the tape off, it still looked a little rough, so I just took a flat file and just kind of cleaned up all of these surfaces that were bare, because that's where the stuff rides together. And you'll see when we put it together how it should go. It should all go together by hand. You shouldn't have to fight it or force it. Taking them off, you got to beat on them with a rubber mallet, and you got to heat them up, and it's a nightmare because this stuff all gets corroded together. You don't want it to be slippery and loose, but you don't want it to be so tight that you can't just push it together. So firstly we're going to do is put the gaskets in the pot here. And this is, I got all my bearings, seals, and the wheel seal from Rock Auto. which I'll put the links down below for all the part numbers. This is what is it, a 96 to 98 naturally aspirated Porsche 944 brake kit. This is the kit that works with bus spindles. If you get the adapter kit from VW Engineering, which I'll put their stuff down below too. I'll put the link to my actual kit. But once you get there, they adapt these brakes to pretty much any early, late bus, bay, splitties. They do bugs, they do, you know, things, anything. You can get these brakes on pretty much anything with this kit. So I'll throw a link down there for that. But all the hard parts or expendable parts we got from Rock Auto. And this is part number 1439006. Who cares? But this is really just it's 2 seals and a little spring. That's it. That's the whole kit. And what we need to do first is this inner seal. And I got my OVP Premium .3 brake fluid. Any brake fluid will do. You want to just use enough though, you don't want to get it all everywhere, because even though that paint that we used is chemical resistant, it's not chemical proof. If you leave brake fluid on pretty much any kind of paint, it's going to peel off. So what I do, I just get a little bit. This will help the seal kind of find its home. Not a ton on there, but just enough to kind of make it, you know, a little slippery on all sides. You want to make sure you get this inside too, because that's where that little piston rides. We'll get that all nice and oiled up. And then inside, right inside here, if you feel it with your finger, there's a little channel. And this sort of drops in there. And you don't have to force it. It's going to fit in there pretty flush. You're not going to have anything really hanging out. See in there? It's pretty flush. It has a little bit of a lip on the bottom, but not too much. Let me take our piston here. The reason we're using brake fluid and not something else is because brake fluid is what's going to end up being in there later when we plug these things all in. So you don't want to have a foreign chemical in there. For this, you want to make sure that you've pulled the tape off of your hose, because that's what's going to let the air out. I don't have enough in there. That's what lets the air out as you put the piston in, so you're not fighting the air. And this can be a little tough, getting this guy in there. Kind of give it a twist. You don't want to unseat that rubber though. There it goes. Yep. Perfect. Alright, and then a little bit of this. There's a groove right there around the outside. Just want to drip a little in there. You can use a Q-tip for this too. So the inside part of this is like an accordion here. You can see that. So the inside of that goes around the piston. It's pretty stretchy. If you get good new ones, they're stretchy, but they're kind of a pain. Now they're all slippery. There we go. So that goes around there like that. And then the rest of it, this little lip out here, just kind of get it around that lower groove. Once it starts going, it'll kind of snap into place like a zip lock. There we go. Just make sure that it's seated. And then you've got this split ring. Just kind of don't poke any holes in there. Be careful. That's gonna go down in that groove, just like that. That'll snap in there, and that's what holds that rubber on. That's it. Piston is rebuilt. Put that in there. I don't want to make a mess. You don't even need that anymore. So then we take our piston. There's an alignment. This little line right here is supposed to align with, I believe it's the edge of that. And they don't even tell you why in the manual, but it just says to turn that so that it aligns properly. I don't know, I just do what they say. I'll put the picture right here. Then you'll be able to see what the angle is. Okay, now this part that we've taken all the paint off of, well, we didn't paint it in the first place, but the part that we've cleaned up, your hose always goes down and your bleeder always goes up. You always want those bleeders at the top. And this is the curvature of the rotor here, so we know this is the top. And this little guy drops in right there. If you get it in straight, see this little notch lines up with that little finger. And then you should be able to just push it just like that. And it's going to stop itself. It's going to grab the back here and it's going to stop itself. That's how you know it's on all the way. It doesn't go flush. You know, right here sticks up just a little bit, but it's even on both sides. So we know we're good. We have our, it's like the brake pad carrier, you know, and this also is what bolts the caliper to the spindle. And it's got sliders on the side. That's the outside of this shape here. So if you set that in there, you know, now I got it all nice and clean, so it went right on. Didn't have to fight it. So that's that. And you take your pads. Your pads have these little notches on them. It's just so they can make them exactly the same per side. It doesn't matter which one goes where. But inside your caliper here is this little tab, I guess, for lack of a better word. And that tab fits in that little slot, just like that. And again, it's not going to lock in there, but it'll go in there. And these little holes, these little ears, they go up towards the top. And what I'll do is just stick my hand in there, kind of hold them in place, and then you take your pins, go from this side. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now everything's fit. Now you got your keeper. This is what puts tension on them. So I'll set that on top. And then hold a pin. It's tricky. I've seen the Porsche guys do this on the car. I don't know how, man. It's tricky. Alright, so that one that goes under the pin. And then if you're holding it, you're good. Kind of see that, push that down. And then you have your spring. Which you want to hook in there. And then you got to pop this one out partially. Just enough. Get that spring on it. Okay, and then this pops right over that. And that keeps all that together. Now everything solid, so you can slide that down onto your rotor. There's a little hairpin that goes in here, cotter pins, but I didn't unwrap them because they're super tiny and I didn't want to lose them, so make sure you put those in when you finish assembling. The bus metal lines that came off of the backing plates will actually go right in here. It's the same size, so you don't have to change your lines. You just have to change your master cylinder, but all the rubber lines, all the hard lines, everything's the same. So that's super nice. You know, it just makes it one less thing to have to buy. If they're crusty, buy them. But if they're not, then you don't have to. So that's caliper. Caliper done, easy money. There's my hub. It's nice and clean. I just hit it with a little degreaser and a wire brush like I would do a carburetor, and put it in the ultrasonic, and it came out clean enough for me. Got all that nasty old grease out. One thing you do have to do is these bearings have a race. There's an inner and an outer, and you have to get the old races pressed out, and you got to get the new races pressed in. I went down to just the local, you know, independent auto shop, gave the guy 20 bucks, came back about an hour later and they were done. You know, it's not a big deal for them. They got the press. I don't have it, and you can sit there for hours and try and beat them out and beat them in. Don't do it. Do yourself a favor. Go down and have somebody do it for you. You know, the bearings. This is the inner bearing is the bigger one. And I'm not going to grease them up now because I don't want to grease them up and have them get all full of dirt crap before I get them on the bus. So I'm going to grease them up towards the install because they just drop in. Once you got the race in there, they just drop in like that. And the inner race is sealed and the outer race, or seated, and the outer race, it just drops in there. So this is what the race looks like. So that gets pressed in there. And the bearing just rides on it. So there's an inner and an outer. You know, the inner one, you really want to see it. The inner one is this tiny little guy. So that's that. But we'll get those in when we install it, like I said, because I don't want to get the grease out full of dirt. You also need a wheel seal. The kit that I got came with these, and then I actually bought them too just because I wasn't sure. But this will go in there, just like on the rear. We use that seal tool, that installation tool that holds it down, and you tap it, you know, and then you want to grease that up when you grease the bearing. Put a little grease on there too, it'll make it slide in easier. So that'll all come when we do the install on the bus itself. And then these spacers that come with the kit, one goes in the back, one goes in the front here after the bearings go in. These just take up the slack because the bus spindle is a little bit longer. So this will make sure everything can get nice and tight and you don't have any looseness issues. So don't lose those. Those come with the kit from VW Engineering. The rotor, I went for super fancy cross-drilled, slotted, vented rotors. You don't have to, and those bolt on to the hub. The hub drops in there just like that. In between your lugs, you've got five little holes there down in this cavity, and that goes to here. And that takes an M8 bolt. These are M8 by 30 millimeter. These are easy to put together. It takes a 13 millimeter socket, and basically just drop that through there, and then it goes into these holes down here. And then washer, lock washer, and you put them all hand tight just until you get them all in there. So let me speed this up, and then I'll come back when they're all put together. Alright, So 17 foot-pounds is what the torque spec is on there, which is not very much. I just did it by hand for now. I'll come back and check it with my torque wrench. You just don't guess. Oh, and put the Loctite on there before you get everything cinched up. I'm gonna take these apart again one more time to get the bearings in there. It's easier with the drum off, or with the rotor off to do the bearings. You don't want to get any grease on this. So I didn't Loctite it this time, but you definitely want to put Loctite on those 5, the M8 bolts that go in there. Just a little dab, one little stripe on there, lock her down. And then same thing with the lug nuts that hold the adapter plate onto here. There's one side is countersunk for the ball seat on these. I got these from J-Bugs. And I got the lug nuts from them as well. Came all together in this nice golden color. Alright, there we go. All bolted together. Got our M8 bolts holding the rotor to the hub. And then got our regular old lug nuts holding our adapter to the hub on this side. Again, Loctite on these. And Loctite back here on these. Holding all that stuff together. The bracket holds it to the spindle. The bracket holds the caliper on top of the rotor. The wheel holds onto the adapter. Boom. All done. Super easy kit to put together. I'll put all the links for everything down below. You should be able to find it all. I built a few of these kits, so I know everything that works after trial. Easy to do. So hit me in the comments if you got questions about it. I can help you. I'll send you the links to all the adapters that we're using to get this stuff from a Porsche to a bus. It's easy to do. You can do it. Hit that little subscribe button. Ring that little bell right over there. Get the new episodes. Tell a friend. Thanks for watching.